This is 50, time to prioritize me. I'm gonna make it. 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 I'm gonna make it after. Oh. Hey guys, it's Sheran Goodspeed Keyton, and this is my birthday video, lovingly called This is 50. So for the next year, you all are going to have an opportunity to ride along the crazy kickoff to the 50th birthday slash, what is it? Bicentennial? No, bicentennial is 200. Whatever it is, I'm 50. I'm half a century. And rather than feeling sad about it or going through what my kids consider to be a midlife crisis, I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate every single day, starting right now. And I'm going to take you guys with me. So... I've gone through several thought processes. At first I was a little depressed because, like with most people, you start second guessing, have you done everything you wanted to do? Have you accomplished everything? Are your children where they should be? Like, you just really start second guessing everything. If you're 50 years old and you're a woman and you're single, you start checking to see if there's something wrong with you. Like, there's just so much. So, total transparency, I was feeling a little bit sad, disturbed, fill in the blanks with any of those adjectives. I was kind of feeling those things because that self-doubt started to sneak in. But then I looked back over my life and I thought, girl, in this 50 years, you have done a lot. You have done a lot. And you have nothing to be sad about. When I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a professional performer. I wanted to be a professional singer. Been there, done that, traveled all over the world, not country, world, performing in other countries as a professional singer. I always wanted to be an actor. I've done movies that have been with big stars, had Hollywood premieres. I've written, directed, produced my own indie films, other people's films, starred in shows plays that toured and were in Italy and other places. My kids are amazing. I realized I had nothing to really be sad about. So I pressed the reset button on my life and I was like, well, here we go. I'm jumping on 50 and I'm hanging on and I'm going to enjoy the ride. With 50 being such a big new space, I made a very conscious decision not to carry certain things over that threshold. And some of the things surprised even me because I'm like, there's just certain attitudes of negativity or certain people who have been in my life during the past 49 years and they have no space. They have no space in this new place that I'm going to. My own self-doubt, it has no space. I am who I am. I'm proud of who I am. So anybody who can't celebrate that, celebrate with me, like, it has no space here, so it can't go. The thing that I think, well, two things that changed drastically as I'm going into 50 that I never would have guessed. I had what I felt to be the most amazing job. As an artist, if you're forced to work, you want it to be a job that you love, because we don't like to work in that way. We don't like to work a 9 to 5, right? So we don't like to work in that way. So if you work, you want it to be a job that you love. And so for 18 years, I had this job that I loved. I loved. But had I not experienced those things in the latter days of working at that job, I would have never left. So one major thing that's not going over into 50 with me is that job. You know, I said goodbye to it. I walked away from it, and I walked away on my own terms. And that made me happy, which is another thing I'm going to be doing this whole last half of life. Everything is on my terms. I'm 50. The second thing, and this is where everybody thinks I'm crazy, right? My family thinks I have lost my mind. My residency as a Texan did not, is not, will not make it over into 50. It's not going with me. So I relocated to Chicago, Illinois. No family, no friends, nobody. I have one friend. I do have one friend in Chicago. Let me clarify that. I do have one friend in Chicago, but nobody. So that was probably I can't cry this early on in the video. That was probably the toughest thing for me. Of all of the young people that I have taught, mentored, worked with throughout my life as an arts administrator and an educator, if I had to tell them something to help them out on their journey to 50, I would say have no regrets. Try everything. Because for me, I guess mine was because mom didn't know, right? She didn't know what was out there. She didn't know that singing and acting and dancing and writing and directing and producing was a thing. She watched TV and movies all the time, but she didn't comprehend that those are jobs that people do. So she didn't know where and how to help me at a younger age, right? So I was much older before I had an opportunity to experience any of those things, right? So I would say to all of those young people who have passed through my loving arms, I would say for all of those young people, have no regrets. Try everything. Do everything that you could ever imagine, so that when you get to 50, you look back over your life and you're proud of what you've done, proud of what you've accomplished. Fun thing. So if I think in terms of like who are the people that have already crossed over that 50 threshold and the people that are closest to me that I look up to, that is a little bit bigger of a number than probably most people my age, because I love, love, love what I call my village, right? So I have this village, it's this village, and everybody needs one of these very strong Black women who, whether it's in business, whether it's artistically, whether it's as a parent, a grandparent, whatever their amazing accomplishment is, the way they have lived their life has greatly impacted me. And some of them are in major ways. Some of them are in minor ways. Some of them don't even know what they did to make it into the coveted village. They were just being them. So I would shout out to the village. Diane Tucker, who is gone to be with Jesus. Deborah Tate Lewis, May Allen, Ernestine Rose, Merle Scott Bush, Joanne Goodspeed, Lovita Goodspeed. They're the village. They're the village. Um, Now, there are some that are closer to my age that I can misbehave with a little bit more. Liz Michael, that's my girl. She crossed over. She crossing over again. She keep crossing. But that is my girl. She probably is one of my greatest examples of don't give up. Um, she went to Broadway for the first time much later in life. And she just keeps going. She just keeps going. Nothing stops her. Her whole entire house burned down. She lost everything. She kept going. She lost her parents. She kept going. The list goes on. She just goes on. My other over 50 that I can cut up with is Tyrone King. We go so far back, 25 years back. And he's my guy. He's my guy bestie, right? So I can like call him and ask him for advice, and he'll tell me when I'm wrong or right, especially in relationships and blah, blah, blah. But he's crossed over again too. He's 63, so everybody's crossing. So I think that they all collectively, and others, there's so many that I can't name, but those are the ones that are closest to me, that just kind of stay close to me and continue to provide shining examples of who and how I want to be as I run across that 50 line. Everybody knows, who knows me well knows I work all the time. It's just in me. Like, I can't help it. I work all the time, but I never want to work so much with a focus on the financial, right? I work from my heart. I work on things that I'm passionate about. I work in a way to hopefully enrich the lives of others. So if I had to think in terms of how I would want people to support all of my endeavors beyond 50, because I am streamlining my endeavors. It might not look like that to a lot of people, but I am streamlining my endeavors. I would want them to simply reach out and say, how can I support? Because now we're beyond, I've been doing this since I was 14 years old. Now we're beyond the guesswork. Now we need to talk about business. You know, I have an LLC. I have an INC. I have a 501c3. I got all the numbers and all the acronyms, all the letters. And they all have their own separate mission. And the mission is always simple: impact the lives of young people, educate society as a whole, and create beautiful art. So for people who want to continue or begin to support me as I cross over into 50, that's how you do it. Shoot me a message and be like, hey, what's Miss Dipsworth got going on? I want to support that because I want to support literacy in young people, and fill in the blanks. It goes on. It's so crazy when you look at things that have changed and are the same, from Sheran at 25 to Sheran at 50. Like, what's going on in the world? Obviously, social media is a thing, and it was not a huge thing when I was 25. It wasn't a thing at all when I was 25. So everything that I got as far as the news and as far as everything came through the grapevine, phone calls, whatever, or the news itself, newspapers, you know. And it's so crazy, y'all, because then and now is not much different in how Sheran sees the current climate and the state of our government, our people. And it makes me really sad because I gave birth to two children. I mothered and mentored a lot of other children. And I really had hoped and still hope that the world that they grow up into and turn 50 into is a much better place than it was when I'm 50, when I was 25. So I'm looking for a grand improvement over the next 20 years, basically. And candidly, I have to say, I don't know that I've seen that great of an improvement in some ways in the past 25 years. But the one wonderful blessing is that at 50, I know how to combat certain things. I know how to use my voice to positively move certain causes, certain things, certain initiatives forward. I know how to use the internet and social media in a positive way to help people who can't see the bigger picture, choosing my words carefully here, to help people who can't see the big picture see the big picture. Is that good? I think that's good. In light of the fact that many of the people who really, really know me the best have gone on. They're not here anymore. And as I move into different spaces and places, and in some cases uncharted territory, and I meet new people, the things that I think I would want them to know most about me is that I'm very gentle. I'm very loyal. I'm very respectful. I'm very kind. I'm very genuine. So what you see is what you get. What I said is what I meant. What you say to me is not going to leave me. And crazy thing, I really genuinely expect all of that back. I expect all of that to be reciprocated. I expect it all. As far as my personality is concerned, though I'm very strong, and I use that very reluctantly because people have, since I was a little girl, referred to me as having a strong personality. And what they mean by that is not always positive. Matter of fact, most of the time it's not positive at all, right? So I use that just so that people can identify with that word because they use it so much. But I am a very present person. I'm a very involved person. If you say, hey, can you come help out at field day with my kids for their school? I'm coming with extra balls and waters and coolers. Like, I do it big because I don't know how else to do it. And it's not for my own glory. It's because I always want to be present. I always want to be involved. I always want to be present. And also people who have strong personalities, especially Black women, people forget that we also have a soft inner core. So you'll see me sometimes at one of my live gigs and I'm singing and something will hit me, to my core, and I'll start crying and I can't get it back. I cry at the drop of a hat and people are like, oh my gosh, she's crying. I'm like, all the time. I cry because a movie gets good. I cry because I'm sad. I'm happy. I stub my toe when I hurt my finger. Like, I cry. So I guess to sum it up, if I wanted anybody to know anything about me, it's that I'm real. What you see is what you get. So without knowing it, I've become somewhat of a public persona, right? And so and starting with this video, y'all are going to be seeing a lot more of me because I made some commitments to do more content. So as people are watching me graciously glide into 50, the things that I personally want to be mindful of for myself is intentionality. I want to make sure that every single thing I do with a purpose. I want to make sure that everything that I do, I go into it for the most part with a specific goal. And I want to come out with the desired end result, or at least something that I'm happy with, right? Because listen, turning 50 don't mean you are failure free. It means you know a little more, you move a little different, but listen, you still gonna fail. And so I know that. The things that I'm apprehensive about, I've been told since I was a very little girl that, oh, you are so pretty. She's so pretty. Look at her dimples. She's so pretty. And then I went through that ugly Jerry curl phase, in middle school and early high school. But for the most part, people see me and equate my presence with this aesthetic, this visual aesthetic of beauty. So 50 and beyond, I think, my God, I'm starting to get, the little wrinkles below my neck and in my eyes and in my face. And so there's concern about what happens when beauty fades. I forget things more now. Now, I'm only 50, but I do so much. So sometimes I forget things. So I wonder what happens if you get older and as you get older and your memory fades. I've always been a plus size woman. So I'm not like worried about, oh, what if I get over 50 and I lose my cheerleader body? I've never had one of those. So whatever I get after this, I'm good. Love. That probably is one of my greatest thoughts. I don't know that it's a concern yet, but I feel it creeping up because we're taught that we are supposed to grow old with somebody. We're supposed to have our white picket fence and some cats or dogs and grandkids and yeah. I don't know what that's going to look like for me. And so I don't know. That's probably one of the things in my top two things of things that I feel concerned, about, is growing old lonely or growing old alone. And the other is just career accomplishments. In this very moment, I'm in a better space than I've ever been, thank God. But I'm still not everywhere that I could be. The old folks used to say, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. So that's my answer for going into 50 and all the things that make me feel a little bit anxious is I have to keep reminding myself every day when I'm 50, 51, 52, 55, 83, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. So from the time I was about 16 or 17 years old, so about 35 years now, I have always been a teacher. I've always been a mentor. I've always worked with young people, older people, but I've always been in a very nurturing position in people's lives. It's just naturally and innately who I am. And over the years, I have given so much. My ex-husband used to say, you gonna mess around and lose this house, this car, and everything we got trying to feed other people's kids. But I always did. I always put other people's needs before my own. That's just who I am, right? So I learned a very difficult lesson just in the last maybe 5 or so years. When you spend your whole life being the giver, the person in a support role, even, watch it now, even when you are the superior, right? If you're the teacher, but you put yourself in a support role for one of your students, if you're the parent, but you put yourself in a support role for your children, if you are a mentor, but you put yourself in a supporting role for your mentees, right? You're being the giver. You're being the cheerleader. You're being that person who provides things for them that they wouldn't have otherwise had or in that time and space when they needed it. So I used to always feel a little bit saddened when kids would go on and do great things, or even a couple of times my own kids that would accept an award or something like that. And the first thing out of their mouth wasn't, I want to thank my mom, when I am the one who drove them to all the acting classes and borrowed gas money and did all the things to make sure that they arrived with every other thing that every other child had, right? And so it was a little troubling to me from them to other people, right? And so I came to the conclusion just a few years back that the weight of the gift is very different in the eyes of the giver and the recipient. Here I am, being in my early 20s, can barely make ends meet, starving artist, single mother, giving classes for free to young artists, or running my own kids around or family members and doing everything I could to support whatever their dreams are. And in the meantime, I don't have food to eat. So I'm hungry, or I'm borrowing things, right? So the weight of that gift in my eyes is massive. It's heavy. It's important. But to the person receiving it, they might not even see it as anything. They might be, oh, little DVA Productions ain't nothing in the grand scheme of things. But DVA Productions was everything that I had. DVA Productions was my blood, sweat, and my tears. It was my mortgage money. It was my car note money. It was my kids' lunch money that I would parcel out to make sure that everybody had a seat at the table. And in doing that, every resource that I had, I would turn over to every person that I came in contact with if I believed in them. So if there's an audition that's coming up, I'm taking you to it. I'm preparing you for it. If there's a job, I'm going to prepare you for it. I'm going to let you get that paycheck. If you need to learn how to ride the city bus, you name it, at my own expense and sometimes to my own detriment, that's a gift that I can give you. And so I did. So it weighed a lot to me. It was heavy to me because I sacrificed so much in the name of giving it to someone or someone's. And so that I didn't get my feelings hurt, whether it be my own children, relatives, colleagues, partners, young artists that I mentored over the years, so that I didn't get my feelings hurt, I had to step back and say to myself, Sheran, you as the giver know the weight of the gift that you gave. You know the doors that you opened. You know the paths that you cleared. You know the connections that you made. You know the priority that you gave all of those recipients. If they don't know, or they can't comprehend, or they just don't care, that's not on you. You gave from the kindness of your heart, and you will forever be blessed for selflessly being a blessing. So that was a lesson I learned. And that's how I grew. That's how I grew. And that's how I came to, again, my mantra for the rest of my life. The weight of the gift is different in the eyes of the giver and the recipient. You know, it's crazy. People are like, usually by the time you get to 50, people are starting to settle down. They've done the big things. They've had children. They've raised their children. And they're starting to settle down into preparing for retirement, right? At Denny's and everywhere else, at 55, you're a senior citizen. You can start getting all the free stuff on your birthday and stuff, right? You get your AARP card. But for me, I still have short-term and long-term goals that I am setting this year. When I say hashtag this is 50, y'all are going to get tired of it because there are still things that I have not done. Mrs. Dipsworth belongs on an international platform for children. That is a long-term goal. Short-term goal, an amazing feature film where she's able to teach children everything from literacy to relationship values with their elders. Everything you can imagine will be in that movie, and it will be amazing because she is amazing. So those are my long and short-term goals with her. I've been singing my whole life, and I have survived, thank God, three vocal cord surgeries. And they weren't little vocal cord surgeries. They were like, I don't want to get graphic, but it was a thing, right? I want to make music. I want to tour. I want to play big houses. I want to do concerts. I want to make music. I want to break records streaming. So I still have those goals, and I will. And I will accomplish those 50 and beyond. I don't know who I'm going to be singing to. I don't know about the other 50 and 60-year-old folks, but I will be making music. That is a goal. Maybe I'll start doing hip hop. Y'all remember that time when amazing Shirley Caesar somebody would like try to step up her game and modernize her, and we were like, no, 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 no. Give us old school, gravelly voice Shirley Caesar that can sing us all into heaven, and don't be putting techno beats behind her music. And last but not least, acting. I love acting. I've done a lot, and I have a lot more to go. At 50 and 60, I will continue to audition. I will continue to work in this field. I will continue to pursue more directing opportunities in film, producing opportunities in concerts and live events. Literally everything that I want to do in the entertainment industry, I'm going to do it. When I tell y'all this is 50, I mean that. What do I have to lose? Like, literally, what do I have to lose? When I was growing up as a little girl, I used to always hear my mom and my aunties and stuff refer to some of my really, really crafty, that's the word we are going to use, crafty uncles or cousins. They would say, "Ooh, child, you know he a jack of all trade and a master of none." And I'm like, what does that even mean? And as I got older, I grew to realize that is a common ideology, right? That if somebody does a lot of things, there's no way in the world that they can be masterful in doing all those things. There's no way in the world that you can be good at so many different things. Something is going to go lacking, right? And so I grew up a little bit jaded. I grew up a little bit, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, of my vast skill set, right? Also, mommy was like, raised me to be humble. Like, don't speak too highly of yourself. Pride is not good. And I'm like, but I am proud of myself. I want somebody to know, and not in a prideful way, but I'm proud of myself. And so I grew up knowing, thinking, hearing, understanding that if somebody is really good at or wants to do or does a lot of different things, there's no way in the world they can master them all or they can be great at them all. So quietly, very, very quietly, I just kept doing all the things that I loved to do or that I wanted to do. And quietly in each of those arenas, right, the people who encountered me in that space said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is the best I've ever seen, heard, experienced, whatever." And so quietly, I was like, "Mama, I'm a jack of all trades and a master of every one of them." So, I go down my list and I'm like, again, from being a little girl, I always wanted to sing. I wanted to be a singer, a professional singer. That's what I wanted to do. So I started singing in the choir when I was 4 or 5 years old. But I've been a professional singer and I've recorded with major recording artists. My quiet skill is if you're listening to some like in the 90s, like trap music and hip hop music, you'll hear a familiar voice on a lot of people's rap songs. You'll hear hooks, right? So I've been singing professionally, meaning receiving paychecks for being a professional singer since I was 14. From jazz clubs to blues clubs to, I kid you not, and I'm going to call them out because I love them so much. The city of Colleyville here in Texas used to hire me every year for their country and western event. And I'm like, oh, all right, crazy. I'm like, if y'all got a paycheck, I'm coming. So professional singer, and that's what a lot of people know me as an artist, as a singer, acting. I began acting when I was 16 years old. I began acting professionally and receiving a paycheck when I was 16 years old. And I continued to act and just in theater and on into film. And I have performed in, probably some 200 stage plays. I've acted in probably some 40 to 50 movies, from short film to major Hollywood films. Probably about the same number of commercials, from local to regional to national commercials, as an actor. And then somewhere along the line, somebody told me that I could choreograph. That would have been Rudy Eastman, my mentor, founder of Jubilee Theater. And so I was the resident choreographer for Jubilee Theater for 7 years, and I continued to choreograph everywhere. So people look at me, and back then I was a hefty good 100 plus pounds more than I am right now, but I can high kick your face off, baby. And so I would choreograph everything from hip hop to modern to jazz to musical theater. So choreographer, and did well at that. Gosh, writer. I've written, gosh, probably about 70 stage plays, again, from short to full-length stage plays produced at major houses in DFW and abroad. I've written about 20 screenplays for film for myself and ghost written for other people who had a concept or converted their book into a screenplay or converted their stage play into a screenplay. One of the really exciting things that I did a couple of years ago for the first time, and I am just chomping at the bit to be able to do it again, I wrote a libretto for an opera. So I'm officially a librettist. Thank you very kindly. It was performed at a major opera company and an almost sold out 500-seat house. So I add that to my list of things that I love to do and I think I'm pretty good at. And it continues on. Project management, event management. I'm the director of entertainment for the Tarrant County Harambe Festival. I've produced live events and concerts from DFW and abroad, all across the country. I have produced and booked tours. So tours that are going to various venues, again, throughout the United States. I've written music a lot for a lot of people, executive produced. I wish I could engineer. I just point and tell engineers what to do, and they kind of look over their shoulder like they want me to shut up, but they take my advice and it turns out well. So I write music. Gosh, it feels like it just goes on. It feels like it just goes on. I do graphic design. So over the years, I've designed tons of logos and posters. I've created websites, all kinds of things for independent producers and filmmakers and individuals who don't have the money to pay a big production house. So I help them out by creating something that's really high quality, but for their budget. This feels like a commercial, but you name it, I've done it. And I think the reason why a lot of people don't know that I do so many things is because from being a very little girl, I was raised to be more humble, less prideful. Don't speak your accomplishments out loud. But most importantly, I was raised to believe that if you are a jack of all trades, which I really am, there's no way in heck you can be a master of all. But I think I am. I don't think there's ever been an opportunity that I've had to delve into something new and different that I felt passionate about, that I put my whole heart into, that a wide variety of recipients of all classes, all races, colors, creeds, religions, socioeconomic status have not said, oh my gosh, that's one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced. And that's not pride, mommy. That's just me being proud of myself. So I think the things that I'm most excited about are the new things that I've embarked upon. And then I got a whole little series called Humble Beginnings that me and my good friend, producer Charles W. Bush, kind of coined that phrase. We know it existed already, but we kind of adapted that phrase to be those times when we had good intentions, but Lord, we didn't have the know-how, the equipment, but we still did the thing, right? So hashtag humble beginnings. So way back in 2014, I think, I did my first movie that I wrote, directed, produced, and starred in with my sister Liz Michael called Jazz Lessons. So Jazz Lessons was amazing. And also we needed some help with that audio and lighting, but it was great. And I loved it, right? Jazz Lessons was dope. I wanted to bring Mrs. Dipsworth to television. So I wrote, directed, produced, starred in 12 episodes of Mrs. Dipsworth and Friends. I hired some amazing kids to be the regulars on the show. We released 6 of the episodes just for fun, but again, um, mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then I feel like there's a lot of and then. So then recently I decided that I wanted to be the showrunner, creator, writer, director, star of my own talk show. I've wanted to be Oprah since Oprah was Oprah. And so again, I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. I enlisted the help of some of my friends and I executive produced and produced my own talk show, That's Life with Sheran Keyton. And 7 episodes. I had guests. I had a little set. We even had some mugs. We had merch, ladies and gentlemen. We were toasting. We had merch. Because that's what I wanted to do. It was really amazing and great. And then most recently, I was the producer, showrunner, writer, director on a reality show that I can't really show you because y'all gonna see soon enough. But that's what's to come. That's what's to come. More creating content, quality content, because I realized that what I used to produce as far as stage and live performances, that's amazing. You're never going to get beyond the feeling of being engulfed in a live theatrical performance or a live music or band performance. But ooh, how amazing when it can just be immortalized on screen, on camera, on Netflix, on whatever, forever. So that's where I'm moving into in 50. I'm going to just start immortalizing some things. Man, man. As a celebrity, if I could bring back anyone who's gone on, I think I would bring back Whitney Houston. There has to be some incredible pressure associated with being very young and being considered really the GOAT, really the greatest of all time, really the pressure of being America's sweetheart. And I really connect with her in that way because when you start off in the public eye when you're 16 or 17, everybody has this DFW's darling diva kind of image of you. And anything that you do or become after that, where you might want to be a little more edgy or you might want to cut up a little bit or have your cleavage out or whatever, all of a sudden it kind of makes people take pause. But I would like to talk to her. I would like to talk to her and just sit down and have a long talk to her about life and the places where she felt like she felt the most lonely and the places where she felt the most victorious. And I would just want to talk to her. I want to talk to her for 2 reasons. A, because if I can learn from her how not to possibly travel down some of the paths that she traveled down, I would love to know that. But B, oof, if I could learn how to travel down some of the more victorious and amazing paths that she traveled down, I definitely would want to know that. I would want her to hand me the baton, like running in the Olympics with Whitney, and she passes me the baton, and I grab the baton. I'm like, I would want that to be the case. Side note, there are 2 people living, and this is so crazy. There are 2 people living that I want to meet who are celebrities. And I definitely have a reason for wanting to meet them. One is Ludacris. My guilty pleasure is rap music. I'm not going to freestyle on y'all. I'm not going to wait. No, I'm not going to do it. But he and I are connected and he doesn't even know it. Not only his music, I like him stylistically. I love him as a father. I love how he transitioned effortlessly from hip hop artist to movie star to dad to content creator and producer for children's works. Like, I love everything about that. So Luda, dear Luda, if you listening, we got some work to do. I'm your biggest fan. I don't care about anybody else. No, I do. I care about everybody else. But I'm your biggest fan, and we got some work to do. The second person is Matthew McConaughey. Same. Texan, genuine. From what I can see, right? Everybody has a public and a private persona, but I've never heard anybody speak ill of him. And that's a lot to be said for as long as he's been in Hollywood. I wrote in 2019 a short film, and I literally wrote it for me and Matthew McConaughey. Two people in the movie, just me and him. So, hey, Matthew, dear Matthew, we got some work to do. I'm 50 and I'm not playing games. We're not getting any younger. I'm already playing a 40-year-old woman in this movie, so I'm looking for you, Mr. McConaughey. Let's get with it. If I had to bring back, oh gosh, this is so tough. I can't say one person. There's 4 people who, if I could bring them back, I would bring them back. First of all, God gave me 3 best friends. Most people are only fortunate enough to have one best friend in their lifetime. God gave me 3. And he gave them to me at times in my life when I needed it the most. When I was in 5th grade and I was moving from city to city and in a new place, and I needed protection and I needed comfort and I needed love, here comes best friend Peggy. And she was there, and she was my everything, is my everything. 9th grade, 10th grade, he was in the 9th grade. High school was very tough. It was getting kind of crazy out there for the kid. Going through a lot of things. God sends me Nathan. As it would turn out, God only loaned him to me for a while. 27 years. And then he took him home. The same with my best friend Valerie. Young mother, brand new, teenager, 19 years old, in the workforce, trying to do all the things, single mom, and God sends me Valerie. She was all the things, supporting my music career, my gospel music career when I had my gospel group, my budding theater career, my production company, DVA Productions, all those things. And as luck would have it or whatever, God was just lending her to me as well. So from 1992 to 2008, she was just on loan to me. But one of the best friends that a girl could ever have. There will never be another Nathan. There will never be another Valerie. Diane Tucker, playwright, extraordinaire, businesswoman, arts advocate. I met her when I was 16 years old, 17 years old when I starred in one of her plays. And I would love to work with her again. And last but not least, my dad. He decided that my 30th birthday was the appropriate time to exit stage left. And I'm like, Daddy, this is a milestone. So now for the rest of my life, I'm going to remember my 30th birthday as that time when Daddy just went on home to be with Jesus. And I used to want to make him proud so bad with all of the things that I did. And so if I could bring him back, I would make him sit still in a chair, and I would tell him all the things that I have accomplished in the last 20 years. I would show him all of the awards, all of the accolades, all of the young people whose lives that I've touched, all of the young people who I've opened doors for, who have gone on to do great things. And I would probably host a little party. If I could temporarily have back Nathan, Valerie, Diane, and my daddy. Because in life, they were four of the people who loved me, for me, who saw me, and who always supported me no matter what. No matter what.
But this is 50, time to prioritize me. I'm gonna make it. 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 I'm gonna make it after. Oh.